Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Hey, good morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat.
Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are.
There it is, team. Morning. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from today.
Early bird gets the worm, they say. Here at Positive, we offer a 6-star team. It's a team that help you at every stage of your wealth creation journey.
There you go, team. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat, Property Management Wednesdays. That intro always tends to remind me to get on the podcast and check out another episode of whatever you're into that week. But it was a cracker of an episode that Sam Saggers put up the other day about understanding some rent cash flow. So check out the Urban Property Investor team when you can. Certainly one to deep dive into. But what are we doing today, team? What are we doing today? It is another property management episode of Wealth Coffee Chats. Today, I thought we'd talk a little bit about something that popped up on my radar this week. For those that don't know, I've been doing this about 13 years, and I think, in that time you learn a thing or two. And what I hear and observe a lot is some commentary from property managers themselves, investors, landlords like yourself, and I try to piece it all together and come here on a Wednesday and share some of the insights. So this sort of came up this week, team, selling a property strategically, mind you, with a fixed lease in place. How do you actually handle this? And some of the commentary that I saw this week was quite mind-blowing. So I'm going to try and stay on track today and not rant because understanding or reading some of the commentary last night was pretty out there. And, as you guys know, on Property Management Wednesdays, we come here and we talk about a keep you safe, make you wealthy framework. What I read last night was certainly not aligned with any of that. So I want to talk about that today with you guys. But team, give me a shout out in the chat if you are on. I can see a few of the regulars already jumping on. If you haven't seen me around before, team, my name's Kash, representing the R&W Plus part of the 6-star team for property management today. If you haven't seen me, I take over on Wednesdays and get Wealth Coffee Chats done with you guys. So I appreciate you guys jumping along as always. I can see a few of the regulars. Bunty, good morning. Kevin as well. Justin, good to see you, Justin. And there's a few on here. James, morning to you, and Margaret as well. Morning from Bundaberg. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer for where you are, Margaret, than me in my coat, given I am in Brisbane. I shouldn't probably whinge about it. But good morning to you, Luke, as well. Thanks for joining, team, as always. Like I said, we want to chat a little bit about, I suppose, this. I'll get that off the screen for you guys. Like I said, selling a property with a fixed lease in place. Is that the right thing to do? What complications can come from that? What do you need to know as the landlord when you are selling strategically? I just wanted to, again, share some insight and unpack that today because, like I said, from the top team, part of listening to and observing a lot of commentary in the industry whether it's Facebook groups, different articles I see out there. It's quite interesting. Everyone's listening to everyone's perspective on what's actually the right thing to do. And like you guys know, it's about keep you safe, make you wealthy. And interesting enough, this topic came up. And so here's the situation, team. I'm going to read this out so I don't get this wrong. So listen to this. So a tenant had just signed a new 12 months lease, right? A new fixed 12-month lease. Once the tenant had moved in, a few weeks later, the owner says, hey, I need to sell the property. I'm experiencing some hardship and I'm going to move the property on. So tenant, you need to move out because I'm selling the property, right? Now, I don't know the location of this. So I'm just going to assume that, perhaps maybe appealing to the owner-occupier market might be something that this owner wants to do, right? The tenant says, hey, that's cool, but I'm staying. I've got a fixed term lease for the next 12 months and I plan to stay here for the next 12 months. Again, we're going to make some assumptions in between here, some conversations that have happened between maybe the property manager, the selling agent, and the investor, and the tenant for that matter. And property goes to market, and all of a sudden we are a few weeks into the campaign, and there is no investors. There is no investors looking to purchase this property. Interesting, right? Interesting. Why would there be no owner-occupiers? Well, most owner-occupiers want to move into the property in 30 days, 45 days, whatever that settlement term looks like. They potentially do not want to wait another 10, 11 months. So here's the situation that the owner finds himself in. He sort of said, hey, I need to do this because I need to sort of cash out and do whatever I need to do. But he's got a tenant stuck there for 12 months. The tenant has the right to stay on. Good morning, Scott. Thanks for joining. So team, what happens now? Do we leave it with the property manager? Do we leave it with the selling agent? Do we take the property off the market, try something else out? And again, I know Jason talks a lot about it, within Wealth Coffee Chats, at the minimum. And it's all about selling strategically. Now, potentially, from what I observed and what I read, there wasn't much strategic thought in terms of this situation or this strategy, lack of strategy, I should say, moving forward to move the property onto the next person. What was also crazy, and this is where I'm going to try really hard not to rant about it, but all of a sudden, after this sort of question and this note was posted, all these comments came in. And it was about a dozen responses, and I read through them, and I only agree with one of them. All right, there was a lot of feedback. You should do this. You shouldn't do that. Tell your property manager this. The property manager saying, I'm going to do that. Tell the landlord no. Mind blowing. So I only agree with one of those suggestions, right? So I'm going to take you guys through that. So I just want to recap on this situation, right? Number one, there's a fixed lease in place. You guys need to know as an investor, if you are strategically going to sell a property and there is a fixed lease in place, for the most part, it is exactly that. It is a fixed lease, and the tenant in this situation has the right to, suggest what they have. And if they feel like they want to stay there for 12 months, then we need to navigate that, right? So, we want to understand that before we actually go to market, unless there's mutual consent to end the tenancy early, right? Number two, if you are selling, there's got to be some requirements to meet legislation in terms of notice periods to inform the tenant that the property that you as the investor do intend to sell that property. And there's obviously going to be some notices around, open homes and things like that. From what I gather, it doesn't sound like many of this stuff happened. Number three, there's got to be permission in writing from your tenant to agree for you and your photographer to take internal photos, given they've got items in there. And they also need to have agreement in writing. You need to get agreement in writing, or your selling agent, your property manager at the very least needs to do that for you guys, in terms of holding an auction on site. So again, need to know this sort of stuff, team. Good morning, Sonia. Thank you for joining. I love the regulars coming. This is awesome, team. Number four, just so you guys know, and I'm going to use Queensland as an example because this property was in Queensland, or is in Queensland, I should say. And, within the first 2 months of this new tenancy agreement, because the property wasn't disclosed prior that the property was going to go on the market for sale, within the first 2 months, the actual tenant does have the right to jet without penalty within the first 2 months. Not the situation in this case, because they're saying, hey, excuse me, they're saying, hey, we're staying for 12 months. Tough luck, deal with it. Right. The suggestion was that the owner was going through some hardship. right? And that was the reason for selling. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but let's just say it is. And the tenant is saying, hey, I'm not going to cooperate with you and we're just going to, sit tight. Then, if the owner is looking to, I suppose, prove their hardship and get an order to move forward on a different path, and they've got to go to tribunal. Anyway, it's a mess. It costs time and money. Definitely not the way to go. And also in that commentary was some discussion about rent compensation. Should you do it? Should you not? Should we help the tenant? Should we not? There was a lot of conversation around that as well. Morning, Trina. Thanks for joining. And so, yes, I guess in this scenario, and what my objective today was to just share with you some insight to, for you guys, give you guys some information, because I can tell you what I read last night is that a lot of agents perhaps don't know the actual right way to go about this to protect you guys at the end of the day. And like we say, keep you safe, make you wealthy. Because here's some of the commentary, right? The tenant had said, hey, I'm staying, right? Commentary was, no, do not give them compensation. The owner shouldn't have to pay more. Tell the sales agent to not overdo the inspections. This might set a precedent. I don't even know what they're talking about there, right? This is a part of renting. I'm not entertaining this. Heck no and no. Was some of the feedback and suggestions from some so-called professionals, right? So, it was interesting conversation to observe and to listen to, because for me in these scenarios, 13 years doing it, I've certainly had this come across my desk a few times. And pride and ego is not the way to go, team. Pride and ego, you push that out the door, because it doesn't matter who's right or wrong in this scenario. What matters is that if you are selling strategically, it is probably better, you are better off financially to work and cooperate with the tenant and get the outcome that you want. Ultimately, the outcome we are looking for is maximum sale price. That's why you might want to sell strategically, of course. Thanks for jumping on, David. Good to see you. And, so in this space, team, if you are going to go into this situation, you've met with your coach, your advisor, you've met with Jason, whatever you've done, and you're going to sell strategically, understand the lay of the land, right, with your tenant, right? Here's a few of my suggestions, right? You might want to consider this. I'm of the belief that if I'm going to sell a property or rent a property for that matter, we talk about presentation. I want to make sure the property presents really well to the marketplace, regardless of whether it's targeting an owner, occupier, or investor. I want to make sure the property looks to the best of its ability. Now, what that might mean is 1, 2, 3 open homes a week a bit annoying for the tenant? Yeah, potentially. They've got to clean up. They've got to do a few things. What's the cost going to be to send a cleaner in there once a week? Help the tenant out, right? Get prepared. Why would I want to do that? Well, 1, make their life easier, but 2, ultimately, I want to maximize my sale price. I want the property to sparkle. I want the property to look amazing in the marketplace at the open home, right? Again, regardless of investor or whoever the purchaser may be. Some of the suggestion was, no, don't give the tenant a rent reduction, stuff them, right? Hey, if owner's choice, I suppose, in that space. But my view of the world would be, depending on the situation, you might consider that, right? Because getting them to cooperate, getting them to provide great access, getting them to provide a property that presents really well at the open homes is only going to benefit you at the end of the day in terms of that selling price. So consider that. When I was in this situation, I would ring the tenant. I'd go and meet them. Hey, Johnny, let's go for coffee. Let's meet up. You're available tonight? I'll swing by my way home. Like, go and meet face to face with the tenants. Old school, right? Don't worry about phones and iPads for a minute. Just go and have a face to face and understand their situation as much as your own. Property managers should be doing this, right? Property managers, selling agents, this sort of stuff needs to go on. Probably doesn't happen enough, right? Which is why I read what I read last night. Yes, you absolutely need to follow legislation changes. Legislation notice periods and things like that. 100% follow the rules in that space. But why do we do this, team? Ultimately, it's to keep you safe, make you wealthy. Follow the rules, maximize your result. At the end of the day, if you are going to sell and you do have a fixed lease, and this does happen, and from time to time, given different marketplaces and whatnot's going on in our world, because like we say, with holding property and property management and all the rest of it that comes with it. There are challenges, and challenges are inevitable. But it's all about, having the right strategy in place, get all the information together, put the right strategy in place, get the right team involved, and then you can obviously put something together really, really well. Shout out in the chat team if you've ever been in that situation. Let me know if you've ever had to sell a property with a fixed lease, and if you had, how did that go for you? Because I think from my perspective, what I've learned is create a campaign, create a situation where there's less friction. If there's less friction, property presents really better. You're going to get more interest on the property, ultimately getting what you want from that scenario and that situation. So really interesting team, really interesting feedback, from people in the industry, and obviously just giving you a perspective on, feedback, conversations I've had over the years with from landlords, from tenants. Ultimately, I think we all just need to work together to get the best outcome. I've never seen a exceptional outcome, like new suburb record. I've never seen that when the tenant, the landlord, the agents haven't all cooperated. It just doesn't work out that way. And ultimately, it's not costing you. It might cost you, $200 a week to get a cleaner, and $20 a week in rent reduction. But I'll tell you what, if we get it wrong, it'll cost you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, in the ultimate sale price, which is what really matters here at the end of the day. And that's what we are looking to get, obviously. So, team, hopefully that's helped. Hopefully there's a bit of understanding there. If it hasn't, let me know. We'll get another topic next week, I'm sure, and we'll have another crack at what we're doing. But team, any questions, of course, always please reach out, through to myself or the team. Like we say, we always want to emails popping up on your screen at the bottom. I'm really interested, and what I'm passionate about is just, hearing your stories and working through what those outcomes and strategies might look like. I think it's a really cool thing. My goal is to sort of help you guys maintain and hold that property for a long period of time, obviously with your advisor team. So team, email there. Any questions throughout the week, any topics you want me to talk about, please. I welcome that commentary and that conversation every day of the week. So team, I might pause there. Sonia, some good strategies there. Thanks. Yeah, no, appreciate that. And Margaret says thank you as well. So thanks for joining team here today. That's me done and dusted for Wednesday. Wealth Coffee Chats, another episode for property management done. Don't forget, we do this at about 10 past 8 on every day of the week, I should say. I'm only here on Wednesdays, but tune in 10 past 8 tomorrow, team. Jason's back. And then don't forget Finance Fridays. That's it for me, team. Thanks for joining. Thanks for playing along. I will see you soon.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.